Good morning, everyone. Y'all have already found your seats, so I don't need to ask you to sit down. But yeah, thank you for joining us here on this very rainy and very windy day. So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. Our minister here is the Reverend Stephen Robinson. My name is Laura Culler, and I will be your service leader for this morning. Those of you that are here with us in the sanctuary, please be advised that this service is being streamed on YouTube. For those of you that are watching the streaming service, we are happy to have you watching, but of course, we would prefer if you were here in person with us. Please make sure to read the announcements in your printed order of services. Also, make sure to read the weekly events that are emailed to you each Thursday, as well as the unigram and the website. I urge you to keep the website open as a tab on your internet browser so that you can keep up with what is happening. Please practice the COVID restrictions that have been approved by the Board of Trustees. The current guidelines that we practice are social distancing, and wearing a mask is completely optional. We have a few announcements today, such as the Share the Plate recipient. First of all, thank you to those of you that have already voted for that. If you have not voted for who the recipients will be for next year, today is the last day to do so. So please go to the UUCC website or ask Amelia for help. If the internet just refuses to work with you, we do have copies in the table in the forum. All of the Families Helping Families gifts have been adopted. Thank you. We do ask that the gifts are returned by next Sunday. And this is also the last day for in-person gifts for the guest at your table. If there are any parents or guardians here of little ones, if you need help keeping them occupied, we do have books and toys in the social hall for them. Now, please silence all of your electronic devices as we center ourselves today and listen to the prelude.
This morning's prelude is a saraband by Domenico Zippoli.
Thank you, that was beautiful. Please stand and join me in the congregational affirmation as found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Thank you. Please be seated. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We are a covenantal religion, which means that we do not have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. Our communities are based on deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we side with love, embracing all people regardless of age, color, socioeconomic status, physical ability, race, or religious background. We have been officially designated by the Unitarian Universalist Association as a welcoming congregation that welcomes LGBTQ+ individuals. We especially invite families with young children. We even have a nursery for them. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so that we may know each other better. Board members wear green name tags, and they always welcome your comments, questions, and suggestions. Would the members of our Board of Trustees please stand so you can be recognized? Thank you. At this time, we would like to recognize any guests or visitors who are with us today. So if you are willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you're from. Or if you have guests, please feel free to introduce them. We will bring a microphone over to you.
Hi, I'm Annette, and I'm from the UU Congregation of Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. Oh, welcome.
Hi, I'm Heidi. This is like weird talking into this thing. This is my mother and father, Charles and Wendy Coe, and this is my stepson, Gavin McTeer. We live in Forest Acres. We're visiting.
Well, welcome to all of you.
I'm Mary Willa Lowry. This is my second time coming, and I'm a member of Trenham Road Methodist.
Welcome back. Anyone else? No pressure. So visitors, please fill out a visitor card. They should be found at the back of your seat. Filling out the card will allow us to send you our weekly newsletter and emails. Don't worry, no one will come knocking on your front door. Though we are still under COVID restrictions, if you are willing and able, how about we rise and greet each other for a little bit?
Good morning.
Any conversations can be continued after the service in the social hall. It's either you guys like to talk or this thing isn't loud enough. Our chalice lighter today is Annette Flavel.
Thank you, Laura. Laura and I actually became members on the same day. Yeah. My name's Annette Flavel, and it turns out I'm not the only Annette in the room today. Have you heard this one about the Baptists versus the Unitarians when they played a game of football? The Baptists, well, one team could take direction without question. And the other team had to have a committee for every decision. It turns out that I'm on one of those committees, the membership committee, and I think that says more about our needs here than it does about my abilities, but I will do my best. I'm a teacher trainer, a materials writer, and now I have my own publishing house. You can tell that I'm Australian. I came here via Yorkshire, Osaka, Japan, and Mexico. I lived for 20 years in Mexico. And why did I join the UUCC? Well, obviously for the great music program. My friend Karen Herschel said to me when I was looking for a congregation, she said, try out the Unitarians. They're really smart and they're really progressive and you will like them. And so I tried you out and I liked you. So I'm very happy to be a member of a congregation of thinkers and doers. People who, we have great sermons every week to think about. They give us a lot of food for thought. And we have lots of people who do a lot of good deeds. So thank you for letting me be a part of your congregation.
The chalice. The chalice. It happens all the time, don't worry. Spirit of light and life, come unto us. Thank you, Annette.
Thank you, Laura and Annette. Our opening words today are words from one of our favorite poets here, not just at the UUCC, but in Unitarian Universalist life altogether. Maybe some have even called her our poet laureate. And Mary Oliver, in her collection of poems entitled Thirst, wrote an Advent poem. She writes, "Dear Lord, I have swept and I have washed, but still nothing is as shining as it should be for you. Under the sink, for example, is an uproar of mice. It is the season of their many children. What shall I do? And under the eaves and through the walls, the squirrels have gnawed their ragged entrances, but it is the season that they need shelter. So what shall I do? And the raccoon limps into the kitchen and opens the cupboard while the dog snores. The cat hugs the pillow. What shall I do? Beautiful is the new snow falling in the yard and the fox who is staring boldly up the path to the door. And still I believe you will come. You will. When I speak to the fox, the sparrow, the lost dog, the shivering sea goose, know that really I'm speaking to you whenever I say, as I do all morning and afternoon, come in, come in."
Afternoon, everybody. No, it's still morning. Sorry, I forgot about it. Anyhow, good morning, everybody. My name is Richard McLeod, and I have the privilege to conduct this organized group that we call Encore and Sync. And if there are other practice a couple of times a month. As long as you carry a tune, we do pretty straightforward pieces. We'd be glad to have you. We're going to do. I'm working on it. Okay. I don't know if I'm getting out here or not. Can you hear me all right in the back? We're still okay. All right. Anyhow, we're going to do a couple pieces this morning. First one is Kumbaya, which is an old spiritual, which has been redone by Pete Seeger and a whole bunch of others, and you know it well. So when we get through this one, we're going to ask you to join us maybe on doing the other verse again. So let's try that one out first, and we'll do another one, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. Anna, could you give us a C? EOC. What happens to me, and of course, continue, when I hear the kind of harmony that really works, and it's just passionate, and it's just perfectly performed, I get chills down my leg. You do that sometimes, you know, when something's just really perfectly done. And this is on you, all the stuff you just did. So Anna will be recruiting a lot of you for the choir. Based on what you just heard, yeah. Okay, Dona Nobis Pacem means give us peace. It's an old traditional piece. Some people say Mozart wrote the melody, some people say, I don't know. Lots of people take credit for it, but you know this. Dona Nobis Pacem, give us peace.
Thank you, Richard, and to the men's choir. We've come to a point in our service where we prepare ourselves for Candles of Community. And this is an opportunity for us as a community to share those joys that are on our hearts, but also share those concerns that are heavy on our hearts today. We invite you to grab a candle as you come in. There are always 7 candles in the foyer. And to come up and briefly share your joy and concern with this community. And for all of us to listen and to be not only listening with our ears, but our hearts as we share this space for each other.
November is Native American Heritage Month, and as we had, Thanksgiving the other day, we, enjoyed time with family and friends, and it's easy to forget about the atrocities that the Native Americans suffered during the hands of the Europeans, and this is a candle of remembrance for all the hardship and mistreatment that the Native Americans faced during the removal.
Last Sunday, I told you that Rebecca Drennan was going to have open heart surgery on last Monday, and she did, and things did not always go smoothly during the surgery. I spent my best years in the surgical department, so I know that does happen. But she has gone home from the hospital yesterday, and we're delighted that things have worked out well.
While we're talking about joyful things, I want to be joyful about Santa's helpers who were here on Friday and made this place magical for us. It was just a little small band, but there was lots of laughter and lots of creativity and lots of fun. If you feel sad that you missed out on the fun, there will be a takedown party after the New Year. So.
Not as fun, though.
Anyway, we all did everything. We fluffed the ribbons and we hung things, but we had some special focuses like Regina Moody, who did those beautiful live wreaths as you're coming in. If you didn't notice them coming in, notice them coming out. Maybe you can't all see the whimsy that Pat Moore added to the women's bathroom, but it makes me happy every time I go in there. It's wonderful. Bonnie Stronach took over the social hall and made sure that Bill did every little piece just right and move it over and do that. And she got everything put up. And Bill, as I said, was here. He did the foyer and made sure that those things in the window were so perfect. Phil Turner was there to answer my every whim, and he also is the person who made this tree over here. So pretty good. Anyway, we had a good time.
Thank you, Liz. This is a twofer. I'm going to thank those that have volunteered to bring the share rides to the holiday party, the UUCC holiday party on the 16th. So if you are able to bring somebody with you, please let me know. We'll put it on a list. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joan Watterson, and I just arrived back from the mountain. I was up there for the Thanksgiving weekend. And we shared the mountaintop with a wonderful Muskogee family from Native Americans from a little small area between Birmingham and somewhere in Alabama, out in the rural area. They, 5 years ago, bought the property, 120 acres, and they have a village there. They had 2 children, 8 and 10, who speak and write nothing but Creek, and it was just amazing. It was a wonderful presentation, and I just felt like I was in the presence of royalty. It was great. It's great. Sorry for all of you who were unable to come, but I know you had a nice Thanksgiving down here.
Good morning. My name is Bill Dolly. This is a candle of joy and gratitude. Bonnie and Tammy and I came to the Thanksgiving event on Thursday. It was awesome. Being from Maine, we would call this a wicked pissa. It was awesome. The food, the fellowship, it was just a wonderful, wonderful event. And I want to recognize some people who put this together. I'm going to start with the people that prepared. I want to thank Regina Moody, Morgan and Mary, Phil and Liz Turner, Matt and Leah Diamond, the cleanup crew. List is too long to go through, so you know who you are. And if I've left anybody out, I apologize. Last but not least, I want to recognize Jim. Linda and Richard McLeod, absolutely. Jim was the driving force behind this. He did everything. He answered every email. He made every preparation. You should have seen how this place looked. It was very, very well done. There are about 40 people here, and I can't say enough about the job that Jim did. Jim, you did such a great job. We've penciled you in for next year. So thank you to everyone who took part.
Hi, we're Bud and Chuck, and we're lighting a candle today for our grandchild, Fritz, who is 12 years old today.
And of course, we always light a candle for those silent joys and concerns that we don't share out loud. So let's just take a second in silence, take deep breaths, and remember all that you've heard, all the joys that we are celebrating, the people that we are celebrating, the healing that we are celebrating, but also those concerns that are on our hearts. Thank you. And this is a reminder that our Share the Plate recipient, as we prepare for our offering this morning, is the Harvest Hope Food Bank. Also, another reminder, as Laura shared, this is the last day to vote for next year's Share the Plate recipients. I know that there are some challenges with the internet, so I've offered my help since Emilio's not here after the service if you're having difficulty doing that vote. And of course, we also have paper copies. This time I invite our ushers to come and receive our morning offering.
Our offertory music is Jim Scott's I Am Waiting.
of the vain or of the weak, but I rise to meet the weary with the solace that they seek. Still I have not fed the hungry, nor strewn wealth among the poor. I am peace and bring but mystery, and the patience to endure. I am found among the seasons, autumn's death and spring's rebirth, as relentless their momentum as the turning of the earth. All are welcome in my presence, for only love can conquer hate. I am peace, and for the harvest I have planted and will wait.
Of our commitment to the good work. Well, today marks the first of 4 Sundays of Advent on the Christian calendar. And recognizing the symbol of Advent being the beautiful Advent wreath that we have on the front of our program reminds me of very early on when I was a minister at a Baptist congregation where we actually had an Advent wreath in the sanctuary. One of the older children who was responsible for lighting the candle that day referred to it as an ad-lib wreath. And I haven't really thought about that until I came to the Unitarian Universalist congregation, but that actually feels very appropriate way to describe the Advent wreath as more of the ad-lib wreath. This is the heart of the season on the Christian calendar for a focus on hope, peace, joy, and love, waiting with anticipation. The word actually means coming, and the focus is on what we are anticipating, what is coming, what it is that we are waiting for. It is a season of light, and for many holidays around this time of year, as we will look at Hanukkah in a couple of weeks, and even the winter solstice, there's so much focus on light piercing in to the darkness. That emphasis on light and darkness, and then of course, in that darkness, the art and the discipline of waiting. So maybe you're not attaching it to any religion at all, and so we'll speak to those who are sitting here today in this holiday season, sitting between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, might be the best way to describe your holiday experience. And hopefully at this point you have paid off the credit card bill from last holiday season so that you can run it up again this holiday season. Unfortunately, that's probably true, right, for many of us. So many rituals, and by the way, this is Cyber Monday, and so if you go to the UUC website, UUCC website within the next 3 hours, you can donate. All right, there's no really any kind of deal or anything, but you can donate there, just so you know. You can also do it in 4 hours as well, and into Cyber Monday. But there's so many rituals, so much meaning that we have around this time of year, gathering together, as we talked about the week of celebration this week and how important it was, especially for New Englanders to feel some hospitality during this time of year. And so it is such a holiday of ritual gathering, what we're used to, the things that we do, and the things that bring us joy in our lives. But it's also can be an intense time of grief and pain, especially if holidays were not something that were a time of joy. But also, these are seasons where our grief gets heightened, and we actually pay attention in the midst of those rituals and gatherings who is not with us any longer. So in the midst of all of that emotion, the joys, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, this season of anticipating and waiting, we come into and prepare in this next week for December to begin. Handel's Messiah is a musical telling of the story of hope and light in the darkness and in the waiting. And one of the pieces of music used in Handel's Messiah are based on the words of Isaiah the prophet, the Hebrew prophet, who writes, comfort ye, my people, says your God. Speak comfortably to Jerusalem, cry unto her, that her warfare is accomplished, her iniquity is pardoned. The voice of one that cries in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. For the Hebrew prophet, and in this particular time in the life of Israel, these words came during a time of exile, of which the prophets believed it was actually their own fault, the people's fault, that the exile had happened. The Babylonian Empire had invaded Jerusalem, the capital, and taken over the land and took all the leaders into exile and captivity. So the words of the prophet say that the time of war is coming to an end, and that the bad choices and the bad behaviors are forgiven, and that the one who is crying in the wilderness is telling us to prepare for a new way of being. So maybe we are hoping for this in the same way. I was thinking about as we're looking at just getting on the other side of election season, and there's still some left to go as a lot of attention is focused on Georgia, and some of the sentiment around our particular nation, around how we are looking at the political landscape these days. Maybe taking all of the leaders into exile wouldn't be such a bad thing. Sorry if there are any of you who are here. I'm just kidding. There has certainly been language of draining the swamp, so to speak, that has actually allowed for some interesting and disturbing results in some of our elections. We've seen on January 6th an army of violence invade the Capitol with desire to take leaders into exile and even execute them right on the spot. So we know a little bit about what exile might look like if we are trying to connect back to ancient Israel and the words of the prophet to feel very relevant to you and me. Maybe we would even describe our nation as in a time of exile right now. The setbacks that we've had over women's rights, the racial conflict that continues to be a pervasive virus in our country. And of course, the mass shootings, 607, and a mass shooting being defined by a shooting event where at least 4 or more people were killed. Mass shootings, 607 so far in the U.S. this year. We are on pace to possibly keep up with 2021 that had 690 of those events in 1 year. We're getting a little bit of feedback. Is there a way to pull the mic down just a tad? Our sound system is in exile this morning, a little bit with the feedback. Our economy seems to be in crisis. You couldn't tell it if you drove down the Harbison and looked at the mall, but we are in a time of inflation where shopping is supposed to be limited. I don't know what all those people are doing at the mall, but they didn't get the message about inflation. The political landscape is divided as ever. And so maybe the words of the prophet might mean something to us this morning. Comfort my people. In the midst of all of that chaos, where do we find comfort? And maybe the question to ask in Advent is, what are you and I waiting for? Where do we find hope in the midst of this darkness? Exile can also be something you experience personally in your own life, where you feel stuck in your life, stuck in a job that has no meaning, or maybe that you've lost a job, either through retirement or attrition, that had great meaning. Relationship struggles, feeling alone, feeling disconnected from family and friends, physically feeling exiled. So as we sit here this morning, the question is, what are you waiting for? And how do we do this hard thing that we call waiting? Waiting actually requires patience. It requires us to acknowledge that some of this takes time. And I can think of no better story that helps me around patience, because I have so much patience in my life. This is the time that, I'm really glad no family member is here to go, "What? Are you kidding me? You're not patient." And that's true. Can be a very impatient person and wanting things to happen immediately. And so one of those things that puts it in check is the story by Nikos Kazantzakis from Zorba the Greek. And I love to share it this morning because it is my go-to for patience. He writes, "I remember one morning when I discovered a cocoon in the back of a tree just as a butterfly was making a hole in its case and preparing to come out. I waited a while, but it was too long appearing, and I was impatient. I bent over it and breathed on it to warm it. I warmed it as quickly as I could, and the miracle began to happen before my eyes, faster than life. The case opened, the butterfly started slowly crawling out, and I will never forget my horror when I saw how its wings were folded back and crumpled. The wretched butterfly tried with its whole trembling body to unfold them, bending over it. I tried to help it with my own breath, in vain. It needed to be hatched out patiently, and the unfolding of the wings should be a gradual process in the sun, and now it was too late. My breath had forced the butterfly to appear all crumpled before its time. It struggled desperately, and a few seconds later died in the palm of my hand. And that little body is, I do believe, the greatest weight I have on my conscience. For I realize today that it is a mortal sin to violate the great laws of nature. We should not hurry. We should not be impatient, but we should confidently obey the external rhythm. Reminding us, some things need struggle. Some things need time. And the beauty of Advent is that it begins today, but it lasts for a whole month. It's a season of lighting candles ritually over and over again. The solstice is a season of waiting in the darkness for the light to come. Patience is key to waiting. Waiting is also demands on us a countercultural response to what we're used to. In our culture, we have an idea that you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Fix this yourself. That's what we're supposed to do. And the art of discipline and waiting is acknowledging that we aren't in control of everything. Waiting is even a greater discipline than listening. The board has been reading a book about conflict that Deb Matherly, our board president, provided for us. And it's a beautiful concepts about how we transform conflict in our congregation to actually something that's meaningful and powerful in our relationships. And one of those is the importance of waiting above and beyond even listening. Listening is important, but sometimes we listen to control. Sometimes we listen to manipulate, and sometimes we don't even listen at all and we look like we're listening. Kind of like you do sometimes on Sunday morning. just the mention of Cyber Monday made you think, oh man, I should go and look at something. But the art of listening is made even greater in relationship by the art of waiting. But waiting requires an acknowledgement that you're not in control of everything. Some things are just out of your control, out of your ability to somehow fix. You must wait in community for a greater wisdom to happen. Waiting means that we are creating a space for something greater than ourselves to intervene. In the words of the Hebrew prophet Isaiah, and in the season of Advent, for the most part, waiting is waiting for God to help out. Comfort ye my people, make straight the path in the wilderness for the one, for God to show up and help us with our problems. But we really don't have to look up toward a deity to practice the art of the discipline of waiting. We just need to acknowledge whether we have a deity in our spirituality or whether we're humanist and we don't. We still need to acknowledge that we need help. And that is a hard thing for us to do. The greatest way that you and I embody that in the UU is our interconnectedness. We see ourselves as connected to everything in the web of existence and connected to each other. Therefore, when we are doing well, we all do well, but when we struggle, we all struggle. And I think the greatest act of waiting for us is found in our covenant of community, which we're going to use in just a few minutes as our closing words. Community reminds us that we do not have to struggle alone. We are, at our core, creatures of community, and we can be reminded of that when we get ourselves isolated or we put all the pressure on ourselves to figure things out alone. We can tap back into what is in our core, that we are creatures of community, and our covenant of community as Unitarian Universalists remind us of that deep core value within us. I am the minister here, and I must acknowledge, I name a lot of problems that we have in our culture. I don't have the answers to almost any of them. I named several ones that I would consider cause us to be in exile as a nation. The violence, the gun violence, the mass shootings, civil rights and racial issues in our culture, the fight for women's rights, many of the things that we have that are problems in our culture. I don't know the answers to the problems. I do believe, though, and I really mean this, with every fiber of my being, that the answers to the problem are here in this community. So Advent hope points me not to a wreath of candles waiting just for God to intervene, but for me, Advent hope points me to the light of our chalice this morning, because I believe in this community, when we gather ourselves together, there are enough spiritual, thinking, heartfelt people in this group that we can figure out these problems together as a community. So let's practice the art of waiting together.
I'd like to invite you to sing a hymn different than the one listed in the order of service. If you can take your teal hymnal and turn to hymn number 1002, Comfort Me.
I invite you, as we prepare for our closing words, to look back into your program. There's an insert there that has the UUCC Congregational Covenant we will use as a responsive reading for our closing words. In the spirit of love, there is spirit here. There is trust here. There is forgiveness here. There is hope here. Every human being is different. There is injustice throughout the world. Communication is important. Everyone is suffering.
Invite you to join in singing our congregational benediction.
May the blessings of truth be upon us. May the power of love direct us. And may the peace of this community sustain us till we meet again.
Thank you all for being here for the service today. And thanks again to, I'll just say, Liz and Phil and your crew for making the sanctuary and the grounds around the church more beautiful. And apparently the bathroom, the women's bathroom, is a place to see. So if you do take a tour of that, I just invite you to knock before entering. For those who are our guests today, if you're returning to visit, we're so glad to see you again. For those who are here for the first time, we hope you enjoyed your time here. Give us an opportunity to get to know you as you stick around after the service, and for us to get to know you and you to get to know us as well. Thank you for being a part of our service today.